It's another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the movies of December 1st, 1999, the last month of 1999. Not only that, but also the last month of the 90s, the last month of the 21st century before we get to 2000. And, yeah, we're not starting off on a good note here. We have two movies here, not really memorable movies in general, but we can just get through this one pretty quickly, so let's just go ahead and jump right on into it. We have Ralph Fiennes, Julianne Moore starring in The End of the Affair.
One movie has captured the hearts of the critics like no other.
I was wondering when you'd do that.
The End of the Affair is being hailed as the year's great romance.
So, you'll marry me. That's the promise.
A powerhouse of emotion.
I've never loved anyone as much as you.
Ralph Fiennes and Julianne Moore are electrifying. Destined to be well remembered at Oscar time.
You think love ends just because we don't see each other?
The End of the Affair. Rated R.
Well, Julianne Moore did get an Oscar nomination. Ralph Fiennes, not so much. You basically have a story here based off of a novel by Graham Greene. Not Graham Greene, the actor, Henry Graham Greene, a British author, which was already adapted many years ago in 1955 with Deborah Kerr. You have a story here about an extramarital affair which lasts from 1939 to 1946, set during World War II and its aftermath. There's really not a lot in this film. This is directed by Neil Jordan. You could tell one of the last films he made is the last film he made in this decade, and he was kind of on a downward spiral at this point. This wasn't as bad as this film that started the year off, In Dreams, but it's not a film that's going to really boast up anything that compared to where we was back at the start of the 90s when he did The Crying Game and Interview with a Vampire. He'd been kind of on a downward spiral since then. In fact, not many of the movies I'm looking at on here had any lasting power to it. I mean, a couple of films here and there. Breakfast on Pluto was notable with Cillian Murphy in it. The Brave one was probably the biggest success he had. Is from this point afterward. But other than that, though, some of these other films I've seen on here have not had any lasting power whatsoever. Nor has this film really. I mean, it's pretty much what you'd expect it to be. A story about these two people who have an affair, and they end up going through this chaotic storyline. And there's really nothing new about it that hasn't already been done already in other stories like this. I mean, they're trying their hardest to try to make this feel like something unique and different. And the only thing that really makes it stand out are the performances by Fiennes and Julianne Moore and Stephen Rea. I mean, they are really the only three things that are really carrying this movie in the long run. But other than that, though, it's a largely forgettable film. It's a film that has nothing of value to it whatsoever. We've seen this done over and over again, done much better in other movies, but it's a largely forgettable film. If you want to watch it, see it for the performances by Fiennes, Moore, and Ray. But other than that, though, it's not one you need to go out and see. So, with that said, let's move on to the last movie we have here, Woody Allen's Sweet and Lowdown.
I am Ray because he was interesting, sort of pathetic in a way. He was flamboyant, obnoxious, and he was funny. To me, Emmett Ray was a fascinating character.
I'm Emmett Ray. I'm the greatest guitar player in the world.
So the story of Sweet and Lowdown, you have a story about a jazz guitarist played by Sean Penn who falls in love with a mute laundress played by Samantha Morton. Like several of Allen's other films, such as Zelig, this film is occasionally interrupted by interviews with critics and biographers like Allen and a couple of others, including Douglas McGrath, who comment on the film's plot as if the characters were real-life people. And, I'll give Woody Allen this. It was certainly a lot better than the last film he did, which was Celebrity, which was a notorious misfire on so many levels. But here, it's passable. It's loosely based off of Federico Fellini's La Strada. But like I said, it's passable. It's a film that comes and goes. Like, if you want, like, it's Woody Allen doing the bare minimum of what a Woody Allen movie would be like. Like, you would, you got all the tropes in here that you would expect from a Woody Allen film, and I think the performances do carry it through. A good cast overall: Penn, Morton, Anthony LaPaglia, Uma Thurman, James Urbaniak, John Waters, Gretchen Mol, Dennis O'Hare, Brad Garrett's also in here as well. But other than that, though, it doesn't have that lasting power of some of Woody Allen's other movies, like Mighty Aphrodite or Midnight in Paris, or a lot better movies that he would do around this time period. I mean, this isn't one of his best films overall, but it's good enough to warrant enough to watch the performances alone, and some decent comedy to it. I mean, I guess he's trying to go for something like a little bit something on the level of something like the Purple Rose of Cairo, but it's not quite to those levels. But like I said, the only reason you're really watching this movie is for the performances by Penn and Morton, which both were nominated for Academy Awards. And if you want to see Woody Allen do what Woody Allen usually does very well, you'll get the bare minimum of it. It's not one of his strongest films. He's made a lot better movies is in this decade of the 90s, but he would kind of rebound shortly afterward a little bit. Actually, it would take a while because he make a couple films that weren't great overall, had some interesting ideas to it, but none of them really he wouldn't have a really great film again until midway through the 2000s. We'll eventually get to that once we get to Match Point, but we'll look at some of the other ones as we go down the road here. But Sweet and Lowdown, passable film, not one I would say you should watch repeatedly. For a one-time watch, it's fine for what it is, but definitely could have been a whole lot better. So, fine for what it is, but Sweet and Lowdown, eh. You know, I just realized I forgot to talk about Mansfield Park, but considering I've never seen the film, honestly, I'm just not going to really worry about it. If I have to, I'll go back to it when I do the 1999 Leftovers episode. So that's why I didn't do it at the beginning like I said I was going to. But like I said, I haven't seen it, so I can't really say too much about it. So it wouldn't even matter anyway. But that's going to do for this episode, Time About the Movies. Next time we meet, we will have some notable films coming our way, including Tom Hanks in Frank Darabont's follow-up to The Shawshank Redemption, The Green Mile, based off of another Stephen King story. Rob Schneider in Deuce Bigelow, Male Gigolo. The Cider House Rules, Cradle Will Rock, and also Diamonds with Kirk Douglas. So 5 films to look at next time. We'll delve into all those on the next episode. But until then, thank you very much for watching, and if you want to see more more videos like this, I should say, please hit the playlist on the next page. Check out the previous episode, and also don't forget to like and subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this on this channel. So with that said, I'm off. I will see you guys next time, and until then, as always, take care.